Ever see a movie where you're really intrigued and you really like it, but then a really bad ending happens? That's what They're Watching is like for me. They Are Watching is a found footage movie, and not only is it a found footage movie, here we go, let's say it together, it is a horror film. The movie is set up as a made-up home improvement TV program or reality show. In it, a couple has moved to an Eastern European town, a made-up country with a made-up name. I believe it's all made up. I've never heard of any of the places. But this couple go to this very remote area where the husband used to live. The husband in this reality is a famous soccer player. And they buy a really shabby, I can't believe they bought this home. While the intro is the edited version and in the style of this made-up TV reality show, the majority of the movie is the crew going back to see what improvement has happened on the home. Because it's their job to tape the improvement and tape the environment and the people of this village. And so this is the more raw found footage element of the movie. Well, as they're there, the villagers aren't really fond of them. They're very much outsiders in this community. And so most of the tension and the horror come from these people and them and the Americans being complete outsiders and a little terrified. Also in this movie, these villagers 100 years ago killed an outsider for believing she was a witch. And so at one point our main girl, while drunk and at this tavern, just yells witch and everyone goes crazy. Eventually, you know, the movie is going to lead up to them being out in the home, cut off from other civilization, as people from the village look like they're surrounding the house and are probably going to kill them. That is They're Watching. As I said in this intro, I mostly really enjoyed this film. A few of these elements have been done in horror movies, and the found footage element does sort of make sense, but I found most of the story pretty refreshing and engaging. There's definitely a bitchy character in this film, and a humorous character that might be a little annoying to some. For the most part, I really cared about the characters to the point where I didn't mind any of that bad negative stuff. They didn't make me want to claw my eyes out. I definitely felt this movie had some charm, and even though most of the movie is a bit suspenseful and a little slow to build, but I never felt bored and never felt like the movie needed to keep it moving and needed to get there quickly. I definitely saw a bunch of the twists and turns coming, but I did appreciate them. There is also a little moment of drama that I appreciated in the film that might feel tacked on to some, but it felt appropriate and felt like, hey, they actually added some drama and it's appreciative. There's this whole aspect where one of the characters used to be in Afghanistan and he saw some horrible thing, and so him and the main girl, because they're both the love interest in the movie, eventually bond and have this little dramatic and very sad moment. And while I did guess the twists and turns of the movie, I didn't really expect who would be left alive by or towards the end of the movie. It's also considered a horror comedy, and while there is comedic aspects to it, I find it definitely more of a horror film. It definitely had some intense moments that I actually liked, some creepy elements and creepy moments. I never thought it was a great horror movie, I just felt like it was a fun, entertaining one that I could actually enjoy. But then, the last 20 minutes or so happened, and that's when things went downhill. It wasn't the things that were happening that made me mad. It was a natural progression and it made sense, the whole climax at the end, it made sense why it happened the way it did. It's mainly the execution that I really didn't like. And it's not just execution, it's the CGI. Up until that point, everything had been practical, everything made sense, everything looked good. But then when the CGI happens, because there is a supernatural element that I won't spoil, everything revolving around the supernatural element at the very end of the movie ultimately had to be done in CGI, and it just looks terrible because clearly they might not have had the budget to do really good CGI. Maybe that's the comedic element of it, because it's really badly CGI humans getting killed, and it's the kind of bad CGI humans that you'd expect in a comedy Like Eddie the Eagle, when the characters going down, you knew they were going to wipe out because they were CGI characters. Or when Seth Rogen or Melissa McCarthy get thrown across the room in Boss or Neighbors. It's that bad CGI human that clearly it's either meant to be laughed at because of how bad it looks, or it's just bad, I'm not sure. And so you have a lot of people dying at the end, and a lot of CGI people dying. And I get what they're going for, it's just too cartoony in a way where it really hurt the film for me. Also, I did not like the first scene of the movie. And I'm not talking about how the film made it look like half of the reality TV show episode, where it's edited and done in a very comical, cartoony way and very much parodying home improvement type shows. I'm talking about the first scene in the movie. It's the scene where people are running through the woods. It's found footage. Villagers are searching and trying to kill these people, and it ends up being part of the climax of the film. It's one of those horror movies that's, let's show a bit of the ending, then do the movie until we get to that moment, and then have it continue. I don't think that was necessary for the movie. And so I really found that first scene completely unnecessary. Other than that scene and other than the CGI, I did like the film. It's just those things were so bad for me that I can't give it 4 stars. So I'm going to give They're Watching 3.5 stars. So have you seen They're Watching? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my movie reviews of 2015 and 2016. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was just my opinion.